Hello, my name is John Garza, and the title of my short film is called After Hours. It's about a guy named JJ who had just laid his daughter down, and he's trying to figure out what to do with the rest of his night. What inspired me to make this film is my own experience as a teenage father, and learning how to manage all of my priorities and responsibilities in a mature way. The planning process of After Hours actually went pretty well. I knew that I had restrictions, as in I didn't have anywhere else to go after I laid my daughter down. The only place I could film was my apartment at night. So I decided, let's see if I could make something that truly represents me and, the trials and tribulations along the way of being a teenage parent. I knew that I didn't have many locations to choose from, other than the bedroom with a large closet, the bathroom, the kitchen, and the living room. But ultimately, I decided to choose the place that would offer the most distractions. I have ADHD, so it is very, very, very often that I do get distracted from what I do and don't want to do. And I will obviously get frustrated when something doesn't work out the way that I want it to. Believe it or not, being on set was actually very comfortable. This is my apartment, so all of my trinkets and things to do and things to get distracted by, they definitely worked. They got me off track, but I never used that as a crutch, especially having ADHD, with the dopamine deficiency. I always seek that constant reward factor, and when it's not given to me, obviously I get frustrated. This is clearly represented in After Hours. There were no real issues other than a few technical issues, because I had to film off of both my really bad phone it's a Motorola G Play, not the best quality ever, and my MacBook provided by Full Sail. So I had to find a way to manage that in my phone at the same time, while learning my editing skills along the way. Obviously I have some experience from previous classes, but nothing of this size really. But I was really grateful for the experience. There were no weather issues or scheduling conflicts, because the only person I had to worry about was myself. The most rewarding part of it all really was seeing it come together and be like, wow, dude, I did that with my own mind. Whoa. This project inadvertently taught me so much about Premiere Pro, but more importantly, I learned a lot about camera work and lighting. I had a lot of difficulties in that aspect. That's why I ultimately chose to make the film black and white, also so that it more resembles After Hours at night. But I learned so many. There were so many techniques I didn't know I could do with even just my phone or with a laptop. I made it work, so I was very grateful for that, learning opportunity. There are two shots in particular that I'm very proud of, and both of them were done with my MacBook webcam. The first being JJ stepping out of the bedroom and going down the hallway. There's that lower back shot of JJ walking down, and I didn't think it was going to be as smooth as it was. The transition was perfect, and it was so, I don't know, it really brought light to my heart, because I was like, man, I can really do this. So my second favorite was the shot of JJ after he had flopped down on the couch. The phone is right there on the table, and it's zooming in perfectly, exactly where you want it to go. I was also very, very pleased there. So yeah. So what are the takeaways? I learned that, one, you can make a lot work even with just a little. You might think your life is uneventful and boring, but you're wrong. Being human in itself is inherently relatable, no matter which way you put it. No matter who you are, where you come from, your social status, you can make being human relatable to just about anyone. You just have to make it click. And two, I learned just how important cinematography can be for a director. I had never thought about that as an average viewer watching, professional made movies. I knew cinematography was important, but I never really got a perspective of it like I have now. I know now that there are so many ways to utilize cinematography in a way that can even tell stories within the story itself. And it has actually opened my eyes to things that I haven't seen before. So I'm very grateful to have experienced that, revelation. When it comes to my final thoughts, I have to thank my beautiful daughter Zelia. She has one line in the short film, in the very beginning. She did it very well after like multiple tries because she kept giggling along the way, but it was fun. And I will always have that little clip of her voice, to remind me of this experience, and I'm very grateful for that. My advice, would mostly be to myself to just keep trying, and that you can make things work if you just put your effort. You put effort into something, you can make it work, no matter what it is. Even if it seems impossible, you can make something. So, anyways, thank you, and have a good one.